Beardo Banjo.
Hello everyone, and welcome to my PlayStation 5 Showcase reaction. Yes, I'm aware I am 4 days late, but I have a good reason. I have been on holiday. I've been away with some family, getting some R&R time, and during that R&R time, I shaved off my beard. So I really probably should call my channel, at least for the next couple of weeks, Beardless Banjo, because this is barely a beard. It's barely stubble at this point. I'm depressed. I shouldn't have done it. It was one of them things, you do the first bit and a big chunk comes off and then you're like, I have to keep going now. I can't come back from this. I can't glue any of that back on. I have to keep going. And then before I knew it, it was all off. And this is the end result, which is upsetting to me. But that's not why I'm here. I'm not here to talk about my beard and the fact that I've shaved it off. Today I'm here to talk about the PlayStation 5 Showcase and my reaction to the Showcase. Traditionally, I would have been sitting here at my PC at home, filming reactions and uploading them as and when they happened. And the reactions I had would have been very, very positive. I really enjoyed the Showcase itself. But I also want to talk a little bit about what came after the Showcase, and that was the mad chaos that ensued when everyone tried to get PS5 pre-orders and the general difficulty that has surrounded getting hold of a PS5 console pre-order at the moment, because I do have some opinions on it and I do have some opinions on the Showcase, and I just wanted to sit and just chat about it for 10 minutes. And it won't be 10 minutes because every time I say it's going to be 10 minutes, it's about 30 minutes. I really like what Sony have done with the last couple of showcases. This was very similar to the initial PS5 reveal showcase or reveal event, whereby they just hit you with trailers. It's trailers, 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 games, 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 games. And that, for me, has always been the approach that I prefer. When I used to sit down, and I still do every year, and obviously this year wasn't traditional, but every year when I sit down to watch E3, I love the developers who come out and just show me games. Games after games after games. That's what I'm there for. At the end of the day, I love video games. That's why I'm here. That's why I play consoles. It's why I play PC. I just want to know what games are coming out. I want to see them running, and I want to get excited for them. I want as little filler as possible, and this showcase had very little filler. I haven't been the most excited person for next gen. I'll come out and say it. There hasn't felt to be like a huge amount of reason to jump into next gen yet. It feels like there's still a lot of legs in the current systems and the current hardware, and we've got some fantastic releases still coming out like Cyberpunk 2077. But as we get closer to launch, it always happens, I find myself getting more excited and wanting these new machines. I'll dive in now to some of my highlights from the event. They kicked off with the Miles Morales footage, and my word, it looks incredible. That's exactly what I want from that franchise going forward. More of the same, some new abilities, new characters. The focus on Miles as a playable character I think is just fantastic. As much as I love Peter Parker, I've seen 1,000,001 stories about Peter Parker. We had the fantastic Spider-Man on PS4, and I'm sure we will get the fully fledged follow-up at some point in time where we play as Peter again. But I've had so many opportunities to play as and interact with and see Peter's story. So to be able to experience Miles' story is very exciting to me. It's the one reason that I was excited for the PS5 before this event, and it was the one reason I was really leaning towards the PS5 as my next-gen console of choice. And seeing the gameplay just cemented that for me. The new abilities, the electrified suit, the invisibility, the over-the-top insane set piece on the bridge where he's kind of trying to web it together like a madman. There's no way he's fixing that. It's falling down. You've got cars flying all over the place. I'm sure it's going to be quite QTE heavy, but it looks great. It's a reason to be playing on the PlayStation format right now, and I know there's been a lot of calls for these things to go to PC, but right now that is the USP for Sony. Games like that are the reason why you go to that platform, and it's the reason why I'm excited to jump into that platform and get a hold of one of those consoles. Games like that. Second biggest highlight for me was Demon's Souls. Now I have a couple of little gripes with it, but it looked flooringly good. I was absolutely gobsmacked by how gorgeous it was. I've only played Demon's Souls once, and I played it when it launched on PS3. I remember I had some time off work, I had a PS3, I read a magazine. Remember magazines? Used to read magazines, they used to tell you about video games and things. It was great, it was a simpler time. In the magazine there was an article about Demon's Souls. And it basically just said it's the hardest game ever. And I went, okay, I've got some time off work, I'll go and buy it. I went and bought a copy, not knowing what I was getting into, played it, absolutely fell in love with it. And that started my kind of long love affair with the FromSoft games, and I've been excited for them ever since when new ones are coming out. But Demon's Souls was where I started, and I only ever played it through once. Start to finish, completed it, but didn't run it again. But watching that new trailer, I still remember the boss encounters, I still remember the locations, and it just looks incredible. Blue Point have done something magic with this remake that I can't wrap my head around. I cannot wait to dive into that title, and again, confirmed as a launch title for the PS5. When I found out that information, that was the point at which I said, I need a PS5 on launch day to play that. Spider-Man, yeah, that's great, but this for me is the reason I need to have a PS5. Come launch day, come 19th of November, that's what I need a PlayStation for. Now, my gripes with it are the event as a whole, the showcase event, didn't really tell us what the launch titles were while it was going on, so I left the event thinking, okay, I still don't know what's coming out on launch day. I know when launch day is now, and I know how much the console will cost me, but I still don't know what's coming out on launch day. It wasn't until a few people in the industry on Twitter chucked the information out there that I started to find things out. I think it was Jeff Keighley, for me, that I saw the tweets from, who said, this is a launch title, this is a launch title, this is a launch title, and I was like, well, okay, now I'm excited. That wasn't in the showcase, which for me was frustrating, or I just missed it, but I didn't see that information in there saying this is a launch title. Just showed the trailer and moved on. My second gripe specifically with Demon's Souls was the way in which they played that demo made it look strange. It looked gorgeous, but the manner in which the demo was set up to be one-hitting everything, and I understand why, because they want to show the world, they want to show how it looks. It didn't look like Demon's Souls. It didn't look like a FromSoft game. It looked almost kind of like a meme. He was just running through, just knocking everything out of the way. And the camera seemed a little bit too tight to the player character. I don't know if that was a choice for the trailer. I assume it was. And there was some cinematic elements in there, like when you backstabbed, it really zoomed in for a cinematic effect. I would have liked to see the gameplay exactly as it's going to be, because I really don't expect what they showed there to be how it plays. I think that was very dressed up for the sake of the trailer, but it still looked gorgeous, and I'm still very, very excited for it. And that really was the reason for me to run out and buy one, or want to buy one on day one. I'll rattle through these next highlights because there were quite a lot and I could talk about them all day. New Final Fantasy 16, I believe, looked stunning. I am not a fan of Final Fantasy. I've been on record saying this before, I'm not a huge fan of it, but my word did it look good. It looked like a return to kind of the high fantasy element of the original Final Fantasies. The monster design looked absolutely fantastic. The world looked brilliant. I was genuinely excited for it. It piqued my interest like no Final Fantasy has done in a very long time, and it might be the first Final Fantasy I buy in years, which is crazy because I honestly haven't engaged with that franchise for a long time, but it looked so damn good that I am quite tempted. A new brief look at Resident Evil 8 was also very much appreciated by me, a huge fan of that franchise. It didn't give me a huge amount of new information, didn't give me a huge amount of new footage. It was mainly a retread of what we've already seen in the initial trailer, but it was still nice to see Resident Evil get a better look at some of the locations, get a little bit of a better look at the werewolves, the kind of werewolf enemies that are kind of plaguing you in this game. And then we got some kind of a strange Tim Burton-esque story and animation that kind of told this tale about how dangerous it is to go into the woods. I'm very intrigued about Resident Evil 8. I believe that Resident Evil 7 was the shot in the arm that the series needed to return to form. And going back to that first-person style is, in my opinion, great. I would love to see them alternate between the third and first person games now, because they do feel very different. They do feel very typically and specifically like Resident Evil games, but they do still feel very different to each other. I'm excited to see more at Tokyo Game Show. I will be reacting to that and checking that out when it drops. But yeah, Resident Evil 8 still looking fantastic. A new Five Nights at Freddy's game? Didn't see much, but it looked like a kind of a fully fledged first person horror game from what the trailer made it appear to be. Huge budget, very excited for that. What else was there? There was loads of stuff, it's just ridiculous. The Hogwarts Legacy game. It's a bad time to be making a Harry Potter game, I must admit. The game itself looked fantastic. It looked like the exact kind of thing I want to play, but it has received a very justified backlash. Anything connected to J.K. Rowling at present is just not a place you want to be positioning yourself because of the closed-minded madness that she has been spewing out of late, it doesn't do anyone any favours. So I feel bad for the development team, because they're crafting a product that looks, in my opinion, very, very good. A hell of a lot of fun to play, it looks like. And I think a lot of people would love to get stuck into that world. And it remains to be seen whether the sales will be damaged by this, but it is a bad time to be working on anything Harry Potter or J.K. Rowling related. So a strange one, but the game on its own looked very good, but you can't really detach it in this current climate. So yeah, I feel bad for them. Then there was a bunch of other stuff. There was some good stuff in there. I can't remember it all, but the biggest thing obviously was at the very end of the showcase, God of War teaser. And that made me laugh because it got me excited. And these kind of things always do get me excited. It's a kind of a video game industry trick. Everyone knows that God of War will get a follow-up to the absolutely sublime God of War on PS4. Everyone knows it. We're not silly. Everyone knows that's happening. But show us a logo and a 20-second trailer and we lose our minds, because it's just that's a confirmation and reaffirmation that it's actually happening, even though we knew it anyway. But it's something I've seen many times in the industry, whereby we know something's coming and then all they need to do is just confirm it with just a splash screen. We had it with obviously Elder Scrolls 6, which is still a million miles away, but just getting that screen that it's happening was enough for us. And this was a very similar instance. And it's great to know that it's being developed. They said 2021. Who knows? In this COVID world, it could be much later. It would be great if we see it next year. Imagine if God of War 2 is the big Christmas release of 2021, a year after the PS5 releases. That would just be phenomenal. And then at the end, we came on to the prices and all the wonderful things like release dates. Now, I wasn't surprised by the prices. I'll talk in UK currency, but $449.99 for the standard disc version of the PS5 put it exactly in line with the Xbox Series X, and I wasn't surprised by that. They had no reason or need to drop the price proposition of the PS5, the disc version, below the Xbox Series X. They just didn't need to. The Xbox Series X is, in my opinion, a great looking bit of kit, but it's offering a far less appetizing launch lineup. Game Pass is phenomenal, and Game Pass will be the reason that machine does well going forward. Things like Xbox All Access, where you pay £28 a month for the X and Game Pass and online, so you're getting access to all those first-party games and third-party games, is absolutely phenomenal. But PlayStation, all they needed to do is match that price point. They didn't need to beat it with the disc version. They just didn't need to, because they already know and they are already confident in those brand new experiences that are only going to be available on PlayStation. Spider-Man, Demon's Souls, Sackboy, Astrobot, Destruction Racers, I think it's called. They're all exclusive to PlayStation, day one, launch titles. You can't play them anywhere else. So why would they need to undercut the Xbox price point? They just don't. But the disc driveless version, the digital version at £359.99 UK, is a exceptionally appetizing proposition, because that's just under £100 less, £90 less than the disc drive version. But if you're someone that's already embraced digital and are happy to purchase directly from the PlayStation Store, or maybe it's a habit you've already formed during the PS4 years, then you're getting a console that's just as powerful as the Xbox Series X and just as powerful as the disc drive PS5 for £90 cheaper, $359.99. That is an incredible proposition, and a lot of people will not necessarily want to do that because they want to be able to trade their games, shop around, buy their games from different retailers. But for the people who have embraced digital entirely, they're getting an absolute bargain of a deal with the PS5 digital version. There was also, at the end of the show, and this kind of ties into what I'm saying about the prices and how they're matching up with Xbox, the announcement of the new PS Plus benefit. The PS Plus collection. I cannot remember the exact name of it. I'll put it on here somewhere. But if you're a PS Plus member, you get access to an incredible library of PS4 games on launch day on your PS5. Games like Days Gone, Detroit Become Human, there was Last of Us Remastered was in there, Batman Arkham Knight, Bloodborne, God of War, Ratchet and Clank. Absolutely phenomenal. most people will have a PS Plus subscription. And most people will buy one when they get a PS5 because they're going to want to play online on their brand new sparkly machine. If you do that on day one, you've already got access to, I can't remember the number, but 20, 25, 30 fantastic last gen games. And that to me was just like, okay, they're going all out here. It's their Game Pass counter, but not fully. Xbox have obviously committed to put every first party title day one into Game Pass, but PlayStation, it's more of a selection, and they're not doing the first party stuff day one into that service because they feel it devalues the product, and they've already come out and issued a statement about it. But for me, again, they just leverage the value of what they're offering. If you pick up a digital PlayStation day one, and you've already got a PlayStation Plus subscription, you spent 360 English pounds, and you've got a brand new machine, and you can play, in my opinion, all of the best last gen PS4 games on it, and you're ready for next gen. You know, if you missed out on Bloodborne or God of War or Ratchet & Clank or Uncharted or, you know, Last of Us, any of them fantastic games, you've got them day one to play on your brand new PS5, and you might treat yourself to Spider-Man, and you're just having the best time. But all that good stuff is irrelevant if you can't get a PlayStation. And this leads me on to my final point. I managed to pre-order a full-blown PS5 with the disc tray. I'm very lucky, and the only reason I managed to is because I don't sleep. I'm up late all the time. I am a night owl. I prefer to be up late at night. I cannot sleep if I go to bed early. It's very rare that I'll hit the hay any earlier than about midnight, 1 o'clock, maybe even later. That's kind of standard for me. I watched the PlayStation Showcase event, which finished at about 20 to 10 UK time. By midnight, so 2 hours later, 2.5 hours later, pre-orders had gone live on most large-scale retailers' websites. I think apart from Amazon, which didn't put their pre-orders up until the next day, but most of the retailers went with it just there and then that evening. The biggest retailer in the UK for it was Game UK, and they went at about midnight with their pre-orders. If you were awake like I was, it exploded all over Twitter. Pre-orders are live, and it was a mad dash to get one. I didn't struggle that much. The only struggle I had was the sheer amount of people trying to pre-order meant you couldn't log into the website on your account, which meant I didn't get any reward points for it. But I didn't really care. I just wanted to secure one. If you lived in Europe and you watched the PlayStation Showcase event and went, oh, I'm so hyped for PlayStation, I've got work in the morning, I need to hit the hay now, went to sleep and woke up in the morning, chances are by the time you woke up, they were already sold out online. If you had to go to work, you couldn't just pop into a shop to try and get a pre-order at the point they opened in the morning. Most shops were selling out pre-orders within the first 2-3 hours of opening. So if you're a regular Joe who's got a job, who's got commitments, who needs to kind of carry on with his life, but wants the PS5, you were shit out of luck. There was no way you were going to get one unless you were up at the right time or managed to have a day where you didn't have any commitments to undertake, so you could just go and pre-order one in the store. It feels bad. And it feels bad because the messaging from Sony on the run up to this point has been, we will give you plenty of notice before pre-orders go live. There was even a service whereby you could apply to be eligible to pre-order a PS5 before anyone else. I haven't seen anything about that online. I know that was kind of perceived in a bad light anyway, because people were like, okay, so you're approving me to buy your machine? You're approving me to spend my money? It felt a little bit bizarre. But I haven't seen anything from that system and from that service. Did anyone get one through that? Did it happen? Because it felt like a bit of a clusterfuck. It felt like pre-orders were out there, the price was announced, the release date was announced, and everyone just went, well, I'm just going to go for it. I don't know who broke the camel's back. I don't know who was the first store to jump. I don't really even know who to hold responsible for it. Was it Sony saying, yeah, just go, go, go? Was it a retailer who went, so then another retailer went, and another and another? Because I've worked in the industry and I've seen things like that happen before. Competing retailers in the UK might start selling a game early, and then before you know it, it's on sale everywhere, because it's like dominoes and everyone follows. So I don't know if there was an element of that, but all I do know is I feel for the people who couldn't get one. I feel for the people who went to bed and woke up and it was sold out everywhere. That doesn't seem like a consumer-friendly way to release a pre-order for something that's very, very hyped up, very, very sought after. And I'm not completely doom and gloom. I'm sure there'll be a second wave of pre-orders and a third wave of pre-orders, etc., etc. So there's still hope for the people who really want one, and I'm sure you will be able to get one. All I would say is please don't go on eBay. It's fucking ridiculous on there. People, I hate scalpers. I'll save that for another video. I hate them with every fiber of my being. I hate them. We've just seen it with the Nvidia 3080 cards as well. They just got snapped up in like less than like 2 minutes, just gone, all on eBay for extortionate prices. I hate them. Don't buy on eBay. Retailers were saying 1 per customer, but the system of which to do that is never great. You never necessarily need to. I checked out on my pre-order as a guest. There's nothing to stop me going back in as another guest from a different device, from a different IP, or use my 4G from my phone or whatever to get another one, and then another one, and then another one. The systems in place here aren't good enough to make sure that people can get hold of these things in a safe, structured, and secure way. They're just not. And it's a shame because it's an event people have been excited for, and I've seen all over the internet that people haven't been able to get one and they are disappointed. I do believe there will be second waves and third waves and you will be able to get one, but it just sucks to see that it was just such a mad dash, especially for those people who were asleep when the pre-orders went live and subsequently sold out. That's not the right way to drop these things out to people. It's just not the right way to go about selling your console, especially when you've built the hype so well. That launch lineup, in my opinion, is quite small, but there's a lot of quality there. For me, Miles Morales and Demon's Souls is enough. Is enough for launch day, so it's a double-edged sword. My overall reactions of the showcase were extremely positive. It prompted me to say, okay, yeah, I need one of these things. I'm going to pre-order one when it goes live. And then I'm just laying there on the sofa trolling on Twitter like I do all night, and bang, pre-orders are live, and I was just lucky enough to get one. So it was a great showcase. I wish I could have reacted to it as it happened, but the way in which pre-orders have gone live has left a little bit of a bitter taste in my mouth, even though I was one of the lucky ones, because I wish it could have been a little bit more structured and a little bit more fair for a wider audience of people who wanted this machine, because it feels like it was just, if you're in the right place at the right time, you got lucky, and if you weren't, tough luck. Hopefully you'll get one at some other point. And that is everything I have to say on the matter. The Sony PlayStation 5 showcase was great. They did enough to get me excited, but the pre-order process was pretty atrocious, and I don't know who to blame. It was pretty messy. I am now back from my holiday. My normal upload schedule will resume. I'll have Will It VR on Monday, etc, etc. I will have an Animal Crossing video out tomorrow for the October creatures, and just normality will resume. If you're new here, please do consider hitting subscribe. I'm almost at 10k. I need about 450 subscribers. I say almost, that's quite a lot of people. Every little helps. I'd appreciate it. And I'll see you soon for another one. I hope you're all well. Hope if you did want a PS5, you got one pre-ordered. I really do hope that the people that really wanted one were able to, but I have seen a lot of disappointed people. So I'll keep my fingers crossed for you that the second waves and third waves will appear soon and you'll be able to nab one for launch day. And we can all experience the wonder of Demon's Souls together. I'll see you soon for another one, guys. Take care.